Greetings, horror fans. Today you will hear a story about a guy who picked up an unwanted and hungry kitten on the street. But giving shelter, the guy had no idea what secret hides this cute and fluffy creature. And I called this story, How I Brought a Kitten Home.
The heat was unbearable all day today. And as soon as the sun started to go down, I decided to go outside and walk along the city's embankment. Walking slowly along the narrow path, I watched a string of fire service and police cars that were going to the city center. According to rumors, some killer had set a fire there. Suddenly, I saw a man running in my direction. I was stunned by his brutal look. He howled like a hunted animal and kept looking back.
"It's running! It's running after me! It's chasing me!"
He yelled. He grabbed me by the shoulders with a sharp movement and groaned loudly. "Help me!" I instinctively pushed the stranger away and grimaced. "Leave me alone, you're crazy." He stank, and he was covered in dirt and blood. His dazed eyes looked right through me. Suddenly, he lowered his head and whispered softly,
"I can't hide from him. I can only do one thing."
As if in a fog, he trudged slowly towards the bridge. Watching this madman, I backed away. Is he going to jump? Can I stop him before it's too late? But the thought of having to deal with this lunatic again made me shudder. It's better to let the police deal with them. I moved forward, telling myself that I didn't need to turn around and find out what was happening to him. But before I had gone 100 meters, I heard a scream and a splash of water in the distance. Well, it looks like he jumped into the water after all. And this was not a small river in the park, but a place where there are reinforced pillars at the bottom, and the current is so strong that those who called this bridge the Black Death clearly knew what they were talking about. The rest of the evening was ruined. I felt like the worst scoundrel, who instead of helping a person, decided to run away. The sun had already set, and I didn't want to go home at all. Entering a deserted square, I sat down on a bench and breathed in fresh air. Suddenly, I heard a quiet, prolonged crying, so plaintive, and somehow even attractive. I started looking around, but everything was empty. The crying intensified, seemed unearthly, and unlike anything I had heard before. "Hey, who's there?" After I spoke, there was an oppressive silence. Maybe it was my imagination, or I just didn't notice a family with a crying baby that was passing by? No, it was clearly not a child. The strange sounds rang out again. But this time they were short, as if made with the last of their strength. I got up from the bench and listened carefully. It's close by, right behind the tree. Gathering my strength, I took a few steps. There was a bag on the ground. Shabby, covered in red, leaking spots. He moved and moaned. What the hell is lying here? My hand reached for a dry branch. With it, I untied the rope that kept the bag closed. Just a few movements, and the rope fell off. The crying stopped. I took a deep breath, and carefully opened the bag. The acrid smell of blood and salt reached my nose. What's in there? It's breathing. Overcoming my disgust, I put my hand in. Feeling something slippery and sticky to the touch, I squeezed it with my fingers and took it out of the bag. Creepy. What is it? In my palms lay a peeling, eating lump of flesh. It squeaked and went quiet again. Is it really a kitten? What kind of monster left him here to die? No paws, no ears, no tail. How does it breathe at all? I took off my t-shirt and carefully wrapped the kitten in it. Stay here for now. In this godforsaken city, there is only one vet clinic, and it runs strictly by the hour. If you're still alive on Monday, there will be a chance, but in the meantime, I will help you. I headed home at a brisk pace. Since I failed to help that strange man, I will clear my conscience by saving this kitten. I went into my room, and put the package on the table and sat down opposite. "Hey, how are you here? Still alive?" The thin, dried up body moved crying. It kept opening its mouth. I was disgusted to be next to him. He could be sick with some kind of contagious disease, or could die tonight. I'd only be able to tell if there was a kitten in my room, by the meowing. But the thought that I needed to save him, did not leave me. I took some food from my old dog, Spike, and put it in front of the kitten. Sniffing my hand, the kitten bared its teeth and clung to me. I screamed in pain and resentment. "Hey, why are you biting? I wanted to help." Thinking that it would be nice to call this poor fellow critter, I went to bed. I was kept dreaming about a man, who was running away from something very scary. What scared him so much? From whom was he running? Straight into the clutches of death? From time to time, I could hear Spike whining outside the door, or a kitten meowing. But every time, frightening, heart-wrenching sounds woke me up. When the first rays of the sun lit up my room, I breathed a sigh of relief. Finally light, finally silence, without fear and danger, just another day. I'll get some sleep tomorrow. I went to the place Critter was lying, but when I saw him, I froze in surprise. There was a small kitten on the table. Ears, paws, tail, everything looked as it should. But for some reason, it didn't make me happy. On the contrary, it scared me. After all, he could not have changed so much in just one night. But even that wasn't the worst part. What really bothered me was the kitten was watching me closely. He didn't take his eyes off me, and his food was untouched. Yesterday's bloodstains Critter biting me seemed to have disappeared. Putting aside the thought of danger from this kitten, I decided to take a few photos. Soon my parents will return from vacation, and they definitely won't let me keep it. But I can find a home for this fuzzy critter. Pointing the phone camera at the kitten, I smiled and pressed the button. There was a flash. The kitten jumped sharply, surprised. The phone dropped to the floor. Realizing that he doesn't like to be photographed, I tried to do my own thing. But whatever I did, I could feel his eyes watching me. Green and deep. They followed me. The next night, I did not sleep again. A strange screeching was heard from the room, where the kitten was sleeping. I was uneasy. In the morning, Critter had gotten even bigger. Today he looked like a growing cat. He was breathing heavily, and practically didn't move. But as soon as I came into the room, I immediately felt his gaze. Trying not to think about him, I took the food to pour into a bowl for Spike, but it turned out that it was already full. It was strange, I thought. What could have happened to the dog? He hadn't eaten for a whole day. When I tried to find him in the apartment, I was taken aback. Spike wasn't at home. His collar was under my bed, nothing else. Goosebumps ran through my body. How could the dog disappear? Critter was facing me. He was grinning.
More.
It sounded.
Give me more.
The cat's mouth didn't move, but I could hear it clearly.
More. I want more.
These sounds made my head explode with pain.
Give it to me.
It rang in my head. I ran out of the room, frightened, and ran into the hallway. Quickly putting on my shoes, I opened the front door and took a step. When I found myself back in my bedroom, in front of the critter, I yelled. "No, don't eat me."
More. I want more. More.
It rang with pain in my head. These words wouldn't let me go, no matter what I did. It was impossible to sleep. Each time, the sound thundered louder, and my head was torn harder. In order for Critter to leave my brain in silence for at least a few hours, I had to feed him. At first I ordered delivery from online stores. They were hamsters and mice, But Critter left me alone for only a few minutes, after which the noise and pain in my head intensified. Then I started making orders for larger animals, but it didn't last long either. That morning, flipping through the pages on the internet, I saw an advertisement with a girl who could be called to my home, a prostitute.
I want.
It sounded in my head.
I want.
The pain was incredibly strong. I dialed the number, we made an appointment. When she came into my apartment, I saw her red hair and green eyes. How beautiful, I thought. The girl smiled in confusion.
You're looking at me so strangely. Everything okay? You look weird.
I want it. Give it to me.
An unbearable pain rang in my head. Yes, everything is fine. I took the girl to the bedroom and sat down on the sofa. Her moan rang out, and it turned into a short cry. Critter ate her. Suddenly, the pain stopped. My body exhaled, I felt the bliss of the silence, and fell asleep. A few hours later, my head ached again, 1,000 times more painful than before.
More. Give me more. I want more.
I screamed in despair. Is a few hours of silence worth the death of a person? How much more do I have to kill, so that you let me go? I ran to the window, opened it and jumped out. Landing on the sofa in the living room, I heard,
More. I want more.
Going crazy, I sacrificed a lot of people for silence. When Critter was left alone with another victim, I enjoyed the tranquility. Just think, it's already autumn. Autumn? Suddenly it dawned on me, but what about my parents? Where are they? Really? They had already come home, but the first person they met was Critter? Suddenly, something clicked in my head. I picked up my phone and started flipping through the photos of the kitten that I took the day after I picked him up. What? No, it can't be. In the photo there was only my desktop, empty, there was no one on it. Spike, my parents, all these girls and men who came to our house, they were all my victims. Everything fell into place. I went to the stove, took the matches, and lit a fire. As it spread through all the rooms, I threw a burning pillow into the oil cans, and ran outside. The sun was already setting in the sky. I ran up to the bridge, and began to breathe heavily. It seems that I have escaped from this voice. Am I really free now? A fire truck and police cars flew by.
This is the maniac who killed more than 30 people. His apartment is on fire.
They found him. There's a bunch of human bodies out there.
Passers-by disgusted, looking at me sideways. I quickened my pace and ran straight into a girl. She looked at me, startled.
Hey, are you okay?
Help me.
I moaned and grabbed her by the shoulders.
More.
It suddenly rang in my head. Is he still alive? How? It's impossible. I knew what to do. I accelerated and jumped off the bridge. The pain stopped. Somewhere in the distance, I heard a girl's voice.
Oh, look, what an unhappy kitten. What is he doing here by the bridge? Don't be afraid. I'll take you home.
Well, now we know one thing for sure. Don't underestimate the incredible resilience of kittens. Fearful dreams, everyone, and see you soon.